reality or the possibility of people living in separate worlds, even in the same room, is very much at the heart of the play. And I wondered, in terms of the edge, how you think that works for adolescence, which is different from the Broken Bowl.
Well, there's a certain element of, which I like very, very much, of a fairy story in the Broken Bowl.
Yes.
But it's like you read the Brother Grimm's fairy stories, and you know, they're actually much more disturbing than science fiction and monsters coming from outer space and so on. But they are also creative in that they give young people. I remember, I think it was Bernard Shaw saying, you know, we've got to get rid of all these stories for young children about witches and giants and all the rest of it, and teach them nice, good, clean, hygienic stories. That's a load of rubbish. It's like saying, well, I think we'll keep all the kids in one room, because if they go out that room, they might fall over and cut their knees.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to allow kids to have some way of understanding all the experiences and parameters that they're going to face later on. So that's for young children of about 9 or whatever, and for adults.
Of course.
I mean, you know, I remember seeing the play being played to an adult audience, you know, it was by the Big Brum production, and it was a very, very strange experience. I suddenly realised it was a random audience. It wasn't chosen, but I was with an audience of artists. Mm. They were not artists as it were professionally, but suddenly the audience had been made creative by watching these things on the stage. With the edge, yes. That is something. I have to say this. I mean, I know a lot about theatre. I'm not even saying I'm a good dramatist or anything like that. It's not for me to say that. I mean, it's for other people to say that. But I do know a lot about theatre, actually, and I can speak with some authority about that. And I know a lot of what's being written now. I know an awful lot of what's been written in the past. And I have to say that the edge, in the edge, Big Brum take drama to its present extreme. It's on the edge of what is possible for drama at the moment. I mean that very, very, very seriously. I think, you know, if you went back 2,500 years to the Greeks, you would then say they were taking drama to the extreme position that it can have in human reality. And what I think in this play is actually we're going to the very edge of what drama is possible now, that we enter into all the sections of human existence, which are normally compartmentalized, so the police can deal with that, the doctors can deal with that, the scientists can deal with that, and so on. And what we're saying, yeah, but if you're human, you've got to deal with the lot in some way. You've got to bring the whole thing together so that it can be a coherent pattern for your life. So the young man in the beginning of this play says, I'm going off to Australia and I want to start a new life. And in the end, that's what he does. But in the course of the play, we say, actually, you go around to Australia, that's fine, but the universe is here. The universe is absolutely here. And you can encounter the problems of being human in the universe here, at this table, this chair, in this room, or whatever. and this is for older children, and somebody thrust human beings into the universe. And when I say we want to know what all that is about, what I mean is we want to know what you are about, what I am about, what our cameraman is about.
Mm. I mean, last thing, Edward, is obviously we're hoping that from this 9th play, well, this 8th and 9th play, there will be a 10th. And we hope that we'll be able to achieve that within the next 2 years. If you had to say to anyone out there, you know, a funder or a local politician or another theatre, about why it's important that Big Brum does that next production, what would you say?
Well, I'd say look around you. It's a world that's falling apart. This is unique. If you've gone back to the time of your grandfathers or your grandfathers, they would have said, "This is the world. It means this."
Yeah.
Another person would have said, "No, this is the world. It means that." I mean, you know, to take a simple take on that would be, well, you know, somebody would say, well, we need a Tory world, and somebody else would say we might need a Labour world. You know, you could see there were those possibilities, and 20 years or whatever it is ago, a lot of those left-wing dreams started to unravel because of what had happened in the East, in Eastern Europe. And so writers, not that Eastern Europe was ever socialist, I mean, you've never been there, for God's sake, you know, it was just not. It's the last thing that socialism was about. So that collapsed, and then everybody said, well, writers said, well, it might not like that, but that's the situation. You know, philosophers were saying, well, you know, it's all now Western capitalism, that's what it's going to be about, and so we just did, and so it's the market, and that became the future, and now the market is not working, and people are scrabbling around to try, you know, and if they solve this hump, then the next hump will be a mountain in comparison. So it is falling to bits, and you need some way of reassuring people that they've got a future, and not only that, but they are responsible for that future, and not only that, but they are fit to carry out that responsibility. We have, you know, it said that in the last 20, 30 years or so on, people have been depoliticized. There's no politics anymore. And there's a lot of evidence for that. You know, people tend not to vote and all sort of things. The word politics comes from polis, and it means community, really. And if there are no politics in that sense, there's no community. So I say this absolutely, definitely. Most of the entertainment, most of the drama, most of the sport, if it comes to that, that kids are going to be involved in, is to do with the market. And the market is collapsing. And so there has to be an alternative. And one of the few places I know that there was an alternative, a creative alternative in this country is Big Brum. So let's do another play.
Edward, thank you very, very much. Thank you.